farm, and we're getting ready to start doing some fencing work. I showed on my intro video the other day that we never pinned up the entire fence over here coming up for our goat and donkey pen and pony pen. So we got to get the top on here pinned up all the way around and get a couple pins on each of the posts all the way around. Donkey! I love you too, Donkey! That'll do, Donkey. Anyway, sorry for the interruption. Donkey's saying hi. Yeah, we're going to get our fence project done today and just crack on with that. So join us with that. So what we do, kind of hang our pliers, or fence pliers here. Let the horsey sniff it. So you got this little clip, kind of a funny shape. And it goes normally right across here and hooks onto your fence. So you pull your fence back and put that clip on it, it kind of temporarily holds it. And then this little side, right here, we take our fence pliers and squeeze that shut. Then we come around to this other side, and you'll notice it has a little bit of an L shape bent into it. I'm gonna hang my pliers again real quick. So you take this and just push it over there. So now it's hanging over. And then we come at it from below. This is hard to do with one hand. Let me see here, pull the fence back. There we go. You come from below, and then with these little notches on the top, you just kind of grab it right there, squeeze it closed, and then rotate. And that rotates it up, bends it into place. And then once you got it there, you move a little bit farther. You just close it up in the middle of it and squeeze, and you bend the rest of the way up. And then that gives you a straight up bend there. And I always give it just a little bit of a tap more with this little hammer head. And then right here, it's a little loose and wobbly here. So I just take then I come around this other side, hammer it in, and if I can manage it, I like to grab it with the pliers, just give it a little bit of a squeeze. I don't know how these professional YouTubers manage this, working with one hand. There we go, that's my finished product there. Bring that back out straight. Hey, donkey. You got some lovin's, donkey. Alright, so we just doing that there. I'm putting one in the middle, but I haven't got to that yet. See here. Put one in the middle, one on top. And then when my little rugrats get home from their first day of school today, I put them to work doing the bottom ones. Because I'm not supposed to be bending, and yeah, it hurts when I do. So, let's keep moving along. Hey guys, just got to thinking about a quick tip for anybody that hasn't really ran a fence before. If you are running a fence to hold critters in, for any type of critter that has any sort of weight at all, even our hound dog, if you don't put fence on the inside of the post, see how I have this going on the inside of the post and not on the outside? If you don't put it on the inside, they will come up and they will push against this and they will push it off and pop your clips or your wire ties, whatever you put on there. And especially when you get into these larger critters like a donkey or some of the goats are even pretty big, they'll push the clips right off the fence and knock the fence right off. So you always got to pay attention to that. And if you don't get good fence for the larger critters, like see this fence here, this is heavier gauge woven mesh, actually labeled as goat and sheep fence because it's small enough that most goats can't fit their head in. If you get something smaller or lighter duty, they can bust the welds. And I can show you some fencing where they've done that. We got some of that stuff from Lowe's, the 2" by 4" rectangle welded wire fence, and they've just pushed right through it in a lot of spots because they like rubbing up on it and scratching themselves. So, let me get on in the goat pen here. Oh, no donkey, you're not going out. Anyway, get into wire like this. This is cheap little woven wire from Lowe's. You'll end up having to make little repairs and tie in extra wire because they end up busting right through that stuff. And I also learned my lesson about using pre-existing fence that's kind of rusted. I don't know if you can tell here, but we've had to do multiple repairs weaving stuff together because they just push up against it and snap it. I actually have a spot back here where the goats just freely go between. Initially I had taken this off the back edge where the forest was, but they've pushed right on through it and busted their way out, and we were trying to separate off little quadrants so that they could graze one area, and then when it started getting too barren we could shut them off from it and let them graze a different area and just rotate it around. But they kind of ruined that plan for us. They decided to do their own thing. Of course, they're goats, so that's what they do. But we're thinking about just going and taking this little piece out all the way through here that goes from back here all the way back here to the forest right there. And we're thinking about just taking that out and pulling the posts and everything because it's not doing any good. And then we're just going to run better wire across the back of the wood line here. As you can see from this pole on is that pre-existing stuff that's fairly rusted. And it's like a 3-foot tall fence that they put two strands of barbed wire across the top, and the goats just push down the 2 or 3 foot tall section and crawl right on out. Especially this big boy here, Boomer. He likes to just push right on through that stuff. And then little old Jack running around here, he gets out every single day, and we don't know where, but we assume it's back here because they can just walk right up to this, step on it, and it pushes it down, and they just climb right on over. One of my future projects is back here. We're going to try to fence in and let them just go crazy grazing back there. Because this whole area here, all the way up to the building, was just like this, except less big trees, but mostly all that little scrub brush. And they've went through and just shredded it. It only took them about 3 days to completely get it down to nothing but dirt. And we also have another area. The fence line goes right through there, right on the other side, all the way to that building you see there. That's an old tobacco barn. That's like probably 30 or 40 yards from the fence to that building. They had access to it with a little electrical wire fence, but by the time you got down to the other end of it, it wasn't even but a tiny little static shock because of all the different brush around, and I guess I didn't get a good enough grounding on it. So we're gonna get some of this better sheep and goat fence and put it up so that they don't just free range the whole neighborhood. We live in a small little town of 200 people. So most of them, they're used to that kind of stuff, but we don't want to distress our neighbors that like their gardens and the critters eat all their garden away. So we're just gonna try to do our best to keep them contained with the sheep and goat fence and go from there. I gotta get back to my farm chores, so I'm gonna wish you a blessed day and catch you on the next one.